We are really pleased to say that we've had close to 25 nations here at the center and almost 800 people so far take part in programming here about Canadian beef and really, again, moving our story forward, moving the ideas and the opportunity for Canadian beef around the world forward. So with that, I'd like to take half the group and I will tour you to the front of the center, and Abe's going to take the other half to the meat lab and show you what we've got going on there. Please take lots of pictures, but you know what we'll do is we'll keep the questions till afterwards, if we could, because I know you're hungry, and we're going to serve you lunch right after that. So, okay. Of course, lots of action happens in the meat lab as well, but this is where we tie the Canadian beef products that Abe is demonstrating to our global customers to the tasting. And really, that's where the light bulb comes on for folks, particularly from our global markets. It's interesting to see sort of the light come on for them when they taste Canadian beef, maybe for the first time. So this is one of the aspects of what will be designed into the facility is a retail meat case. And we really like to be able to demonstrate new cutting concepts, different ways of thinking about merchandising meat at the retail marketplace. Because again, one of the challenges we have with Canadian beef with the consumer is helping them understand and be able to take that product home and do it justice in the home kitchen and ensure we've got a really first-class product. One of the things that we've done to be able to do that, and I don't know how many of you have this on your phones, but it's definitely a must-have, is the Canadian Beef app, or the Roundup app. This is a great app. It's available through the iTunes store. You can, again, our carcass is lots of different moving parts and lots of different aspects that you need to be able to understand to be able to cook the product correctly. So if I'm a consumer and I go to the grocery store and I see this and go, I don't know what to pick. So maybe it's a chuck cut. So if it's a chuck cut, it loads all the chuck cuts on there. Each cut is referenced and has recipes and ideas, cooking ideas. So that's really an important link to the consumer and an easy format for people to really engage with beef at the grocery store. There's also YouTube videos and things like that on. We've got Abe do a YouTube video about how to cook beef back ribs, because it's always a great thing, but not a lot of people know how to do it properly. So another thing that we talk about, and Abe's going to mention it in the back room there, is our sausage making here. Beef sausage in this country is woefully underrepresented. Good beef sausage. If you look at Australia, for example, it's a whole lifestyle. So what we want to be able to do is really help retailers in this country rediscover beef sausage in such a way that it can add value to that trim. That's so important for the economics, for the retailer, and for the industry. So this is our meat counter. So I'm going to move over here and talk a little bit about our commercial line. This is our commercial food service line. This is where we engage chefs from around the world. We've had lots and lots of chefs here, and they love this. They love this facility. A couple of things to note. We have made associations with both Garland, who has supplied most of this kitchen line, as well as Rationale. Rationale is a global partner for us. When we go to a food show or do a food show in Chicago or in Hong Kong, we're calling on Rationale to supply an oven for our booth. And they enjoy the relationship that we have with them. This oven is, bar none, some of the highest quality food technology you'll ever find. For example, I'll just scroll back here. In the meat categories, in this oven, I can roast. I can roast with crackling. I can overnight roast. I can braise. I can grill in this oven. As a matter of fact, when I have a smaller group of folks here, I tend to grill in this oven because the accuracy of grilling in this oven doesn't even come close to what I could do on the traditional charbroiler. So at groups of 12 or 15, the steaks are going in here. It is so accurate. We can do all sorts of, again, it's the oven with the brain, and it does cut down a lot of the work that we need to do, and does really accurately be able to put out some product. The short ribs you're going to enjoy here today were done overnight in this particular oven. So, again, the rest of the cooking line is pretty standard. 6-burner stove, char broiler, which we grilled your skirt steaks off for today. And this piece is a little bit unique though. This is a one of a kind. This is an induction braising unit. It's the only one of its kind in the world. Garland worked with us to understand the fact that many of our cuts need braising. And in order to braise properly, you really need the color when you're searing that meat as you begin the braising process. Induction cooking allows for two things: really accurate high temperature braising, and then it maintains a temperature exactly where you want it. So if I want it at 171 degrees Fahrenheit, it will maintain 171 degrees throughout the cooking process. So when we're done the braising process, I pop the cork. All that great braising liquid that we want to keep ends up in a container right here. So they put a lot of thought into the design of this, and with the hope that a lot of the chefs that are coming here to see this facility would want to call Garland, right? So, and of course, this side of the equation here is our consumer kitchen. We do food photography, we do filming, all sorts of interactions for the consumer. It's really content again for the Roundup app and things like that. You'll notice we have screens, so when we have larger groups, everybody can see the action. You'll be able to see the demos that we're doing here with Abe this afternoon. These HD cameras are also, we can broadcast from here overseas if need be. So again, we can do a lot of interesting things here when it comes to education, ideation, all that type of thing. We've had most of Canada's major retailers through here already. We've had many clients from around the world, so like I say, we're very proud of the facility that we've developed here. It's just a little bit of background how the facility was funded. Western Economic Diversification helped or provided a grant to get this facility built and to a high level, and also provided us some funding for our first 3 years of operation. Again, after that, we're going to have to take that under our wing, and that's fine. We're already doing some of that. We're also generating some revenue with different groups that are coming in and renting the facility, whether it be private companies looking to do menu work or demonstrations, etc. Okay, with that, I will see how our group in the meantime.
They were interested in was taking a look at all of the different things that they're utilizing. Is there more value that we can create out of that? But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. First of all,
your name?
My name's Abraham Van Melle, and I'm the technical manager for the Canadian Beef Center of Excellence. I'm their butcher. And what we want to be able to do here is be able to show the technical attributes of this product to people, whether it's domestic or global people that are coming into this facility. And what I consider to be a world-class product, we have world-class facility to showcase that product with world-class equipment. And it's a pleasure working here. I started out as a butcher in north central Saskatchewan.
Where?
Shellbrook,
nice.
Near Prince Albert. Harry's Butcher Shop, Beelhart's Meats, it was called. And I graduated from there to Safeway, where I was a meat manager, and then for the past 27 years, up until a year ago, I was the instructor for meat cutting at SAIT, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. So I know nothing else but meat. And I love the product, and I love the beef product, and we can really showcase this, what our producers are doing in a really nice atmosphere here. In the old days, Marty had to take people to SAIT, or outside of the realm. If we had to do something, take them to Carville, and you know, it always became an issue with all kinds of production going on, and you know, lots of noise and everything else. Now, I can cut the product, whether it's a group from China or Japan, have it, show the technical attributes of it, Marty can take it and cook it. What a powerful message. And Marty's a certified chef de cuisine, so obviously he knows his stuff. So between the two of us, we can have some fun with our clients. What we have here, like, is we go around this room and take a look at some of the equipment. It's a small fabrication area, but built to a very high standard, to HACCP standards. We've got the condensers off right now. This room is usually around 5 degrees Celsius. You can't hear me with those condensers on. This is a dry aging room for dry aging beef. So what we can do is figure out what the yields are. Talk to our clients that are interested in this. Food service, a lot of the really high-end restaurants are looking at this again. What's old is new again, because this is the way everything used to be done on rail beef, swinging beef. And they went to vacuum sealing product approximately 40 years ago. And that product has great attributes. There's really good things about vacuum sealing because you don't lose all of those dark edges and stuff on the product that you see in there. But people want that old kind of sensory experience from their product again, and they're getting it with dry aging. What dry aging does actually is it takes out a lot of the moisture and it intensifies the flavor of the product. The best description I can give you is like taking a consomme, or a stock, and reducing it into a glaze and then a demi-glaze and then into, you know, where you get that really earthy taste. If you open that up, you get this real funky kind of nutty kind of odor from the beef, which I love. And it's interesting, when we've done studies with it in the past, with students even at SAIT, to a student, the students like the wet age stuff better than the dry age stuff because they were used to that. That was their experience. A lot of the older clients and the older customers, they like this stuff. And then we've had some fun with it too, where we can showcase it with other partners. Like we're also affiliated with Jackson Family Wines, and we had their chief educator come through, and she actually did wine pairing with beef products, and we had a lot of fun with that. It was very cool.
Let's try this one.
Yeah. So we do dry age.
We get pairing alcohol.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
It was a natural. It was pretty cool. And what was interesting, you know, like when you actually came right down to it, the dry age product paired best with the most expensive wines, which seems like a natural, right?
Most expensive beef, most expensive wine.
Exactly. Because, you know, we do lose about 35% weight loss with this product. After you lose your weight on just the moisture leach, and then with cutting off all the dark edges that you see, that's got to be removed before you can make it palatable, you lose a lot. But it does create a different experience, and that's what a lot of what we're doing here is creating new experiences with the product. Again, we've got packaging equipment, vacuum sealed equipment. We've got chiller that can bring down the temperature, the core temperature, very, very quickly, so we can send clients home with the product. It's not for sale, it's for tasting. If we have a group from China here and we wanted to get it to their executive team, we can do that. We've got a little mixer grinder, which we can make grinds, obviously, but more importantly, one of the things that we really want to explore and develop is a sausage program, a beef sausage program specifically, because we feel that it's underutilized in Canada. Pork is kind of king of that realm, but in some countries like Australia, beef sausage actually rules. So again, what you can do with trim is so important in our industry. If we can create more demand pull by creating new unique products with the trim, then we've got a winner. And we're doing that. We're making some incredible sausage with beef. And I'm having fun with that. So,
how about bacon?
Bacon is we've got the cheapest part of the animal, which is the brisket plate. It's the belly part. So this part, very fatty. It's like the same part in the pork animal. So what we've been doing is we've been brining it and curing it, and then smoking and cooking it. And it's an unbelievable product. We've showcased that to every group. And I take that product and I'll put strips of it across the roast.
Yeah.
And create a value-added product. So you've got this incredibly sensory experience with this product after you've value added it with that, or beef fat for that matter. Just taking, like if you've got a very lean product like this, like an outside round roast, and you put an outside layer of fat on that, you're creating more value out of the animal already by utilizing that fat and creating a better product for the customer, and then putting a sprig of rosemary across that. Looks pretty nice. There's some in that case out there, so have a look at that. So that's what we're about. We want to really create. I guess the best description would be our producers are doing such a marvelous job with what they're doing. We're creating a respect by doing the best job that we can from a butcher level and a cooking level. So that's a sustainability part of the trade that I look at, and that's a respect of the product. And I think that's really important, both from a cooking perspective and from a butcher's perspective. So hopefully we'll have some fun out there. I know we're going to have something to eat. Is there any questions?
If a consumer, say, goes to their local butcher shop and wants to buy a side of beef, can they just take it home and hang it up and let it dry for a while?
They need the right facility to do that. I mean, and most people aren't equipped to do that. And most butcher shops aren't equipped to do that anymore either. Yeah. Because even here, like I can break down a carcass of beef, and I've done it my whole life, but you need a rail system. So right there, that's an expensive component to put into any kind of area. Then you need the right temperatures and the right controls. So to do that,
you don't think a hook and chain in the barn might be okay?
Well, let's face it. Hunters have been doing wild game and doing that in their, you know, in their Quonsets and places like that for years. So, but let's face it. In Canada, we have the right seasons for that. Like right now, it's hunting season. It's a little cooler at night. You can do it. But still, it's a challenge, and you have to know what you're doing. To become a good butcher, I'd say takes at least 2 or 3 years of constant work in the trade to where you're functioning at a fairly high level. It's not something that anybody can just do. So it's funny, we always did kind of little extension courses for hunters and stuff when I was at SAIT, and a lot of the hunters are just like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't, you know, like even tying a basic butcher knot or things like that, where, you know, because of the anatomical nature of the animal, why is that cut tender, and why have I been doing with that? Why was I grinding that section? You know, they didn't understand, you know, so they weren't utilizing it properly. You know, there's a lot to this trade.
It's a lot of fun to sit there and just figure out how to cut all the muscles out and the things you can do with those muscles. Well, I love doing it myself. Yeah. So
well, I think it's a creative part of the trade, and then what you can do more, like in terms of the value added and the creative part, that's where I get excited. Whether it's making sausage, when we developed the charcuterie program, like dry beef products like bresaola or, you know, dry beef sausages and things like that. That's exciting for me, because that takes the trade to another level. You know, you can cut meat all day long, and that's cool. I still enjoy that. But to be able to create value with other things, and then finding these little hidden gems on the carcass too, like the petite tender, the skirt meat, and then, you know, like showcasing that to the world and saying, okay, this cut is a lot cheaper. Beef is expensive right now. Maybe you want that as part of your menu. Pretty neat stuff. So anyways, well, I'm an old guy and I still get excited about this trade. James, anything you'd like to add? James is our brand officer.
Hi, I'm James Bradbury. I'm the brand officer at Canada Beef. Probably the most interesting thing about what you've seen here today, I think, so far, is how we're able to attach the 5 senses to our product. How we're able to bring it to that premium quality by talking about those 5 senses, and you actually get to try it here. I think later on we'll get a little bit of opportunity before you eat to talk a little bit about the brand and what that looks like from an international perspective, and where we'd like to be going with it, and how we want to increase its value. But increasing its value isn't necessarily just something that you just you magically do. You kind of have to have a place like this where you can talk, a clubhouse where people can congregate and talk about beef in a really interesting way. Some want to talk about the beef itself, some want to talk about where it's from, but all in all, it's this 5 sense experience that you're getting today that we hope to be able to magically produce or reproduce with anybody who walks through the center.
Thank you.